might want to move, that's the road.
Hey guys, Irrational South 2023 100 mile edition. Started off the race, it's been pretty hot and windy, and been running along these Mount Little Station roads. North wind, warm day. Going alright so far. Took a little bit of a wrong turn with the navigation towards the end, where there was the track just disappeared for a bit, but snaked my way back onto it. Got just got the phone out and used the navigation, got the heart rate down, and back on track. So this is the first time I've run 100 mile event, and I guess the question is how I was going to pace myself. So I've just gone to heart rate. With it being warmer, heart rate has been higher, so I'm just cruising along fairly comfortably. But yeah, I've done a few 100k races before, but this is the first miler for me. Okay, so 2 hour check-in. It's been a mix of running through the creek and running next to the creek. It's very rocky creek with hyacinth signs on the left hand side. So at the moment I'm following a path to the left of the creek, but have been going through the middle of the creek at times. Very hard rocks, kind of small rocks that are all stuck together in a very hard lumpy track. Because the trail is so technical, my heart rate has been climbing a bit. Or I was controlling the effort by doing heart rate about 10 beats a minute slower than my long run heart rate, but now a fair bit of it is at my long run heart rate, so yeah, I'm having to slow right down to try not to tire out too much. Okay, so 3 hour check-in, and happy that I'm out of that creek finally. Best part of 2 hours in really tough going technical creek. Just yeah, lots of little things that make it difficult to run.
You're looking strong. Yeah. Any new requests for Hawker, or just any new requests for Hawker?
No, just
no.
That was what I've got.
Okay.
Good job.
We'll see you again soon.
Really beautiful though, really nice rock formations with lots of big flat pieces of rock to run on, different colours, purple and green. Anyway, we are finally out of there and we've got a bit of road running now for the next hour or so. With Mum and Nat crewing me, there was a list of locations to drive to and how to get there, along with supplies that I would need at the aid stations. Nat had the good idea to separate the supplies into what would be provided by the aid station and what would be provided by us. So made it a bit smoother for them, but it was still a very long day and quite difficult to be crew when it's hard to know when your competitor's going to turn up. I just gave ideas of when I expected to be there if things were going well.
We've got everything set up for you. We've got a table and chairs, so we'll come and show you where it is.
Okay, so for our check-in on the road from Hawker to Jarvis Hill, the last hour has been recovering from that creek section. So on the road, slowly started to feel better with my legs, and being able to put in an effort and sit down a little bit of a feed at Hawker. I feel a fair bit better now. There's still some competition though, some guys running together 3k behind, and yeah, if my decline continued, then they would have caught me, I reckon. Yeah, going alright. Going okay.
Well, you're in front of everyone.
Yep.
Not that I can see the tracker, but
so I'll see you after 7, I guess.
yeah.
7.
Well, I'm a bit jealous about you doing this next section. I just saw Deb Pelgrave come through and was telling her what it was like and how much we enjoyed doing it. Yep. Well, it's definitely helpful seeing the runners with the vests on, because you can see them really easily when you're driving along.
They would have caught me, I reckon, fairly soon, but good news is that it bounced back a little bit after that stop, so cruising along okay now and nearly done 40 k's.
See ya.
Okay, so 5-hour check-in. It has been pretty cruisy through scrub for a fair bit of this, but then now we've got a couple k's of rock, so it is possible to run it maybe if you really wanted to put in a lot of effort, but I'm choosing this part of the course to get the heart rate back down, and then I'll hopefully be able to run some more later. But yeah, it's very, very rocky and uneven at the moment. So 48.5k, 5 hours, and yeah, it's really quite a slow bit through here, but it is only for a couple of k's at Mount Elm. So 6 hours in, and had to slow down, but still trekking through okay. And yeah, in the outback here, I've got ranges either side, nice mountain ranges, and really the middle of nowhere, sort of 10k from the nearest public road. Just me and a couple other 200-mile runners that I've passed in the last little bit. But yeah, enjoying being out here on a Friday afternoon. Cloud cover came in shortly after lunch, meant that it wasn't as hot as what it could have been. So that's nice, but still pretty warm and sticky, and I'm looking forward to it cooling down a little bit. So after 7 hours, I'd gone through the Barnes Road water drop and filled up with water there, and was on the road towards Patakuna. So just after 7:30 p.m, 8 hours into the race, I arrived at Patakuna aid station. I was suffering quite a bit from the heat, and had a chat to the medic about that, and I decided to take a few more minutes to recover before I headed out for the section between Patakuna and Buckaringa Gorge. I hadn't done that before. It was quite a bit more technical than I expected, with a riverbed not long after the aid station, and then there was farm tracks, which I was expecting, just follow the fence, but then it was a very rocky and hilly section where climbing for quite a bit on rocky terrain. So then it started properly raining. It had only been very light rain before Patakuna, and the fact that I'd been hiking for a while meant that I'd cooled right down, and I started to feel quite good. And then there was just a long vehicle track to Buckaringa Gorge. So that created a new challenge, with the grooves of the track becoming totally wet with puddles or mud. So I had to run down the middle of the track on the grass, and even then I was slipping around quite a bit. So yeah, it was a bit slow going, but it was, you know, fun charging along the in the night, in the rain, towards the 90k aid station. Last year I'd run the section from Buckaringa Gorge to Warren Gorge with the guys who'd run the fastest known time for the whole of the Hyson Trail. They did that section at the start of day 3, and I knew that it'd be fairly exposed at the top of the range there. So I got changed into thermals, even though I was quite comfortable running with just a singlet and shorts, the fact that I was moving, but I knew that I'd be going quite slow with the technical terrain. It starts off at a fairly gradual climb where you're just running up a creek bed, but then it gets very technical. And I found that because of the rain, the rocks had become quite wet, as well as there was a small stream of water to avoid as well. So it was quite a tricky climb up through the creek to the four-wheel drive track that led to Mount Arden. Now the four-wheel drive track to Mount Arden is only 6k's, but it seemed to take forever. I was running there after midnight. The wind was mostly a tailwind, but it was really strong wind, so I wasn't too worried about it knocking me off the mountain, the fact that it was mostly a tailwind, but it was really taxing you, just the fact that it was just hammering you for such a long time. And I started to get quite cold, and realised that I needed to put a rain jacket on, but there wasn't any place that I could really stop safely and get my gear out without it being blown away. So I just had to persevere and get to Mount Arden. So after a very slow descent in the dark of Mount Arden, I put my rain jacket on and went along the creek before joining the four-wheel drive track. Now with Mum living in Quorn, I've done a number of training runs along this ridge, which is near Warren Gorge, and you can see one morning when it was nice and calm down in Warren Gorge, it was actually quite stormy at the top of the ridge. And this is pretty much the conditions that were there for us in the middle of the night, along with, I guess, much stronger winds. So you can see there's not much in the way of visibility, not much in the way of features. Very hard to work out where you're going, and quite easy to get disoriented. So luckily I did know which way to go, and I was able to go across the ridge there. But if you're relying on GPS and there's very high winds which prevent you from moving around too much, it's very hard to work out which direction to go and which direction you are actually facing. So I can understand why this is pretty much the exact spot where Sarah from the 200 mile event used her spot tracker SOS signal to get rescued from here. Obviously being very cold as well. And it goes down this hill. From there I did the very muddy descent into Warren Gorge, arriving there about 2:40 in the morning. The race had been paused. A few hours later found out the race had been cancelled, and then later on again found out that positions were allocated as at 10:30 p.m. the night before. So 11 hours in, I've been credited with 90 kilometres and finished in first place. Second place was credited with 80 kilometres by 11 hours.
You at least deserve to go through the finish line, right? He made it.
So apart from the conditions being too adverse for runners, being the high winds and the rain and the mud, also the roads were made impassable to a lot of the aid stations. So it's very difficult for any kind of event to be organised or continue on from there.
Day after ultra walk.
So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know a lot of you were watching from home the event unfold and enjoyed seeing that. When I saw the location of this event and the course, I just had to do it. So I'm happy that I went and had a good crack at it. I really like to thank Nat for being amazing, for Mum helping with the crewing as well. I know Mum did some volunteering at Aruna and giving people lifts she didn't have to do, but you know, that was amazing for the amount of help that that she provided. Also, I'd like to just thank for people out on the course. It was great to spend some time with you, and I look forward to hopefully again seeing you soon.
It's like pretty much right on time. He hasn't seen us yet. Looking good.
Good to see you.
Right on time.
Nice to have the clouds.
See you at 65.
Yes, see you soon.